Hello and welcome to Migrate with Mishra. Today I'm going to teach you how to migrate a server from your on-prem environment to Azure with Azure Migrate, and in less than 15 minutes. So let's get started. I'm going to migrate this particular virtual machine which is sitting in my on-prem environment to Azure, and I'll be doing this using Azure Migrate. So this is the setup that I have. Let me start off by navigating to Azure Migrate. So I'm in my Azure portal, that is portal.azure.com. I'm going into Azure Migrate now. So this is the task I want to do today: assess and migrate servers. So let me just get started. Okay, so I'm good to go. I've created a new resource group under my subscription and I have a migrate project in place. I'm deploying this in Europe geography, and I'm going to select my assessment tool, which is the server assessment, Azure Migrate server assessment. There are a bunch of other tools I can also choose from, but this is the one I'm picking for now. Then I'm going to go ahead and choose my Azure Migrate server migration tool. And I can add these tools and kick off. Alright, so now that our tools are deployed, let's go ahead with the next step, which is discovery. So to perform this step, I'm going to switch over to this environment. So I have my portal open here. I'm going to go on to Azure Migrate again. Go to servers, and here I have with me the discover bit. So since my machines are virtualized with Hyper-V, I'm going to select that here, and I'm going to go ahead and download this VHD file. So my appliance is ready to use now. I'm going to go on to Hyper-V Manager and import this appliance. I'm clicking on import virtual machine, and I'm going to navigate to where my appliance was downloaded. This is where my appliance is. I'm going to import that. This is it. I'm going to register the virtual machine in place and connect it via my switch that I've already configured. There you go. My migrate appliance is in place now. Now the next step, as the portal said, is to configure the appliance and start discovery from the web browser. So let's get started on that. So I'm going to start my appliance here. Starting 10%. Alright, so it's running. So let's connect to it now. Let's just accept this. Set a password. So let's configure the appliance now. First step is to accept the license terms, and the rest here don't need my action. So I'm just going to let this work. So let's continue to register with Azure Migrate now. So here I'll just log into the Azure portal. So I've signed into the Microsoft Azure PowerShell application on this device, and now it has identified my account, my subscription, and the migrate project I want to work with. So I'll just give this a name, appliance 1, and I'll just register this. So make sure that the subscription and resource group are the ones that you use to set up Azure Migrate, and the metadata will be stored in the geography you selected while setting up Azure Migrate on the Azure portal, which for me was Europe. So I've successfully registered, so I can move on to the next step now. Alright, so let me go ahead and provide the Hyper-V host details now. So this is the username and password that I'm going to use to connect to my Hyper-V host. Make sure you get the right credentials here. These are not your appliance credentials. These are not what you provided earlier. These are the ones that you'll need to connect to your host. I've saved this here. I'm going to add my host now. So it has discovered 2 VMs that are running in my environment. And I'm going to go ahead and save and start discovery. So now I can view the discovered machines on the Azure portal. And since I have only 2 VMs here, it should show up pretty quickly. So let's check. It's initiating discovery and configuring the appliance now. Initiated and the appliance configuration is done. So let's go back to the portal and see. So I've just refreshed it and I can see my discovered servers here. So I can start assessing my servers now by clicking on assess. So let's do that. Alright, so my discovery source is this. I will just add a name to this. I can go ahead and change my assessment properties as well. So I'm going to make it 1 year reserved here. Take all of the VM series and save. So let's create a new group for this and add the machines. So I just have one virtual machine here, which I'm going to migrate. So the assessment will be done for the same. The appliance is the appliance I just configured. And let's create. And my assessment is ready. So let me just go on to my assessment and check it out. So my assessment is now ready for use. It tells me my Azure readiness, my monthly cost estimate, and the storage monthly cost estimate. I can export this assessment to an Excel sheet. I can also recalculate this based on the time that has passed. Because if you go back here right now, it says that the confidence rating is very low. So if we give it some more time, we can get an assessment with a better confidence rating. Like it's mentioned here, the confidence rating of the assessment is low. Ensure that you wait at least for a day after starting discovery before creating performance-based assessments. So for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to go with this and go on to the next step. Here I can start migrating my servers, or optionally I can refine my application grouping with dependency analysis. So for the sake of this demo, I'm going to go ahead and start migrating my server. So I'll go on to my migration tool and click on discover. So my machines are virtualized with Hyper-V and my target region is North Europe. And remember that the target region cannot be changed. So you have to lock that in and create the resources. And start preparing my Hyper-V host server. So note that the portal is now open in this remote desktop. I'm going to download the Hyper-V application provider here. And I'm also going to download the registration key file. Set this up now. So this will need the key that I just downloaded. So let's browse to the key. This is the key that I just downloaded from the Azure portal. Let me open this. Perfect. So my server is registered in the Azure Site Recovery Vault. So what's the next step now? I have to finalize the registration here. So let me refresh this page. Alright, so the tools have been refreshed. It shows my discovered servers now. Let me press on discovers and finalize registration. So it says one Hyper-V host has been connected. I'll just finalize registration here. So this typically takes 10 to 15 minutes and I can start replicating right after. Alright, so my registration is finalized now and I can go ahead and start replicating my servers. So what I'm going to do prior to replication is create a storage account. I can change the account kind. Let me just use V1 for this and locally redundant storage. I'm not changing anything here. I'm just gonna review and create. So let me do another thing as a prerequisite. Create a virtual network. So let me go back and start replicating now. I will apply migration settings from Azure Migrate assessment that I had created earlier. And there's my VM, the one I'm going to replicate now. So it's ready for Azure. So let's go on to the target settings now. This is my Migrate demo. There's the storage account I just created. And there's my virtual network. So the target Azure VM sizes were automatically populated here. You can choose my OS, the OS disk, and let's go. Here's an overview of where we are. We've done step 1, which is replication. So let's move on to the next step, which is the test migration. So let's track that here. So we're all done here. The test virtual machine has been created and started, and all the tasks were successful. Step 1 is done. Under step 2, the cleanup is pending. So let's go ahead and do that before we move on to step 3. Let's do a cleanup test migration and cleanup test. So step 1 is done, step 2 is done. Let's go ahead and migrate. And migrate. All the steps here are successful. So let's go to our home page, go to the resource group. So there's my machine and the associated resources. We're all done. Thanks for joining Migrate with Mishra, and I hope you learned something new today.